Hey fellas, how you doing? I'm gonna sit you down and talk to you out here in the living room because the cats are being a little pushy, needy. One of the things I want to talk to you about is mental health. Like, oh no, here they come. Okay, mental health. Here, let me. About to be. Okay, Bella. Okay. Hey, let me do this video. Uh, anyways, let me sit you down, back down, and I'll. There is a stigma attached to mental health for men, especially men in particular. One of the fastest ways you could lose your security clearance when I was in the military is if you sought mental health. What we were encouraged to do, and I was, anyways, I volunteered for a lot of different programs, and I ended up being in the EOD field for my Army career, Army EOD, military career. I tried out for Delta Force 3 times and I wasn't good enough, but I'm very proud of myself for trying out, and that has it has some to do with a lot of the things that happened to me. One of the things men, I think, are almost not allowed to do is ask for help. Now, that may seem counterintuitive because, in my opinion, it's the truth. So let me see if she'll let me be. Good. That is to say that when I was in, each EOD unit had a bar in it. And rather than going to see the what was it? Mental health is what it's called in the Army. If you go to see mental health, your security clearance is suspended, and then you don't have what's called a need to know. And then you cannot be considered operational, so you're basically a highly trained clerk. So I'm not going to tell you. I've had a very violent past before I joined the military, and I saw a tremendous amount of violence inside the military while I was in from 1984 to 2003. In December of this year, early in December, we had a flood in the house. And I got into a scrap with one of the contractors who refused to leave my house. I was stabbed a few times in the side, and I was stabbed. I can't remember. It's this eye. I was stabbed in this eye, and I had a hemorrhage, and I have lost some of the vision out of my eye. And when you have some of the disabilities, I have trouble sleeping. I don't know if you guys do it, but I check the perimeter of my home. I make sure before I get into the car, I look inside, I look around the outside of my car. I check the house before I get up. I check the house before I go to sleep. I check the house in the morning. I go around. Anyways, I always am armed when I'm walking around because you can't call timeout. I think it is important for you. One of the best things that helped me was stopping drinking, quitting drinking. I haven't had a drop of alcohol since the 23rd of January, 2000, and it's over a year now. I think it's 2024, 23 or 24. I think it's, let's say 24, so I'm over a year. But do I miss it? No. Am I glad I stopped? Yes. Is it difficult for men to ask for help? Unfortunately, that's 100% true. Men are deemed weak if they cannot fix their own problems. Hopefully, when you're growing up, some of you have access to good uncles. A good uncle. My wife has a massive family, and there's lots of uncles and brothers and brother-in-laws and families that are, meshed together. So they kind of can keep you, if you're going off the path, they'll come on, hey man, what are you doing? Hey, you're drinking too much. Anyways. But there's a lot of guys out there who don't have that. And most of this, I don't have a lot of friends. I don't really get along with a lot of people. I don't like crowds. I don't like loud noises anymore. This is the quietest place I've ever lived, and I stay home probably at least 90% of the time. Can I be gregarious and fun and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, but I can only do it for so long. My wife is a very social person. In fact, right now she's off with some of her friends. They're all married. Anyways, doesn't matter. Let me get to the point. I don't think it's a good idea for you to negate or not do something. I would prefer you do it on a daily basis, every other day. Now I'm not a woo-woo kind of guy, but meditating helps me. I'm not a uber religious guy, but I believe in the Bible. I believe in God now. I've asked for my forgiveness for the things I've done or the things I've been a part of. And I'm trying to live my life properly. But if you never sit down and give yourself a break, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. The lives of men that are younger than I am, and I'm 59 this year, I'll be 60 this year, their lives are far more difficult than mine were. I remember when you could kind of actually get by just having a job at like Burger King or McDonald's. You could kind of get by, or working at a restaurant, maybe with a roommate or something like that. You could kind of just float on by. There's guys out there now living in their cars and they're working 2 jobs. The other thing is, how people measure success, that should be a personal thing with you. I think if I could go back, I would change. If I could just talk to myself when I was 13, when I ran away and started selling drugs on the street, if I could just go back and talk to that guy, I would tell him, just slow down. Things take time. Changes take time. Hang on, the cats are freaking me out. We have a Bella, and she is very protective. In fact, she's very protective of me and my wife and the little one, so I'll let her be. Anyways, all that to say all of this. I don't think it's a good idea for you to not take into consideration your mental health. There has to be something that you do for you. You don't have to tell anything. I write a lot of things down. Before I send an email now, I sit on it for 24 hours to make sure I'm not going to regret it. Most of the time I end up deleting it. If I'm using a pad and a piece of paper, I'll throw it in a box and keep it again for 24 hours, go back and reread it. And a lot of the times I'll be like, geez, what the hell were you going to do? And why I'm saying that is because I call it the broken window syndrome. If you throw a ball through a window, or you break a window with a rock, or however you break that window, even though you're sorry, even though you didn't mean to do it, even though you didn't think it would cause trouble in your life, you've still broken that window, and you have to come to grips with that. Now, some people will fight that and not admit responsibility, and some people are so honorable that they're willing to fall on their sword. That's an old way of committing suicide or harikiri, so that that's how you atone. Some of the Yakuza, they chop a finger off as an atonement. The thing that guys do is that hurts them the most is if you start second guessing yourself. If I want you to try to develop some good habits, such as meditating. I'll try to list some things. Listen to some of the music on different frequencies. Now, I know I'm telling you, I'm not a woo-woo guy, but there are so many things and so many different people coming at young men nowadays that just for being a man, you're already punished by the feminist. And if you say the wrong thing and you're not tolerant of these people, or you don't do that, I don't think I would be here if I didn't have the ability to separate myself. If you noticed, I don't do a lot of videos of me out visiting places and taking you on trips and stuff like that. I didn't buy a nice home, this quiet, nice home, so I could go off and see the world. I've already gone off and seen pretty much most of the world. The only difference between that and now when I travel is people don't shoot at me. So, at a minimum, most men are going to have at least at a minimum, 4 to 6 violent encounters in their life. And some of those things stick with you. I don't want you to have to go through some of the things I did. I was so out of touch that I did some terrible things. Terrible, terrible things that I can't really make up for. But you have to come to grips with them. And some of those things are asking for forgiveness. Now, the things I'm talking about aren't for you to get out on the middle of a stage. I do this, my journey with God and my journey with asking for forgiveness is very private. I'm not going to be that guy that stands up in an AA meeting and says, hello, my name is Frank and I'm an alcoholic. But I am an alcoholic, and I came to grips with that. I don't use or sell drugs anymore. But as I got older, I learned how to become what is called self-reflective and to stop beating myself up for things that I don't have any control of. There are some young men out there that are born into horrific circumstances. There are millions and millions of good single parents out there, single fathers and single mothers, that are doing everything they can to make it. And it's just not enough right now with inflation and all the rest of that stuff. One of my wife's friends, she's going to meet right now. Ooh, almost said her name. Really good woman. She works 2 jobs. And her son works on the weekends, and he's 16 and in high school. Because they just can't get by. You can't get by with one job anymore. And that can take a beating on you. And that can take a toll on you. All that to say this. Part of being healthy includes mental health. And that is something that is a perishable skill that you need to work on. Some of you may like going to groups or talking about something. Some of you may have a family member that you can confide in. You know, I do not know what is wrong with this cat. Have you ever seen a cat that likes to dig in plants? She has tons of toys. Stop, Nala. Pinchy. And she, look, I'll show you. And just about of our plants, she digs. Anyways, I'm gonna try. And all of this stems back to what happened to that young man today. That young man changed the course of his life, and I pretty much think that he didn't have enough people to talk to. I hope this helps. I'll try to put some links in there for people. I think Jordan Peterson is a good guy to talk to. Not talk to. His books. But you have to give yourself a break. You have to come to grips with where you're at. Plans will help you get where you want to go, but on top of that, I don't want to see you do anything rash. I don't know if you know how to give yourself a timeout, but I have to give myself a timeout now. I don't clench my teeth anymore. I kind of hold my teeth like this, and if somebody's upset me, I'll try to get out of the situation. I don't have any problems when I'm here by myself. I may see a video I don't like, and I may yell at the TV, but who's that hurting? That's not bothering anybody. So, mental health, you're not weak for asking for help. And there's a caveat to that. No, I'm not going to say anything else. Love you guys. Stay safe and healthy. Love you guys and gals. Mental health is underserved for women just as well. If you're a single mom, a single parent out there, and you're struggling, which you probably 99% of you are struggling, God bless you. Stay in the fight, but do something for yourself. At least give yourself an hour a day where you just relax and drift. All right? Like a fort in a G-string. From West Texas, El Paso, I'm out of here. Bye-bye.